There are only two ways life, said Albert Einstein many years ago. Only two ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle. The other is though everything is a miracle. Again, one is though everything is a miracle, and the other is as though nothing is a miracle. And in many ways, it's true. Some people are simply wired to see the miracles in the everyday. A flower, a breath, a baby's step, everything around them, to them, seems like a miracle. And it's a challenge to people who don't see everything as a miracle. If we see everything as good, then we can live a life as if everything is positive. It gives us guidance, wonder, and light. But even for people who see everything as a miracle, all too often in these times, it's hard. It's hard to look through the lenses of miraculous times. News of avalanches, earthquakes, racial riots fill our news feeds and our heads and our hearts. And even though we try, it's sometimes hard to see the miracles. But every this week, my muscle of miracle lenses improves. It's because it's different. I think we all can agree to celebrate Yom Yerushalayim. We recall as a community as clear a miracle as could be seen in our modern Jewish history, one that took place not even 50 years ago. Yes, in 6 short days, Israel, against a combined force of 4 surrounding nations, against troops double in numbers, against a war machine of weapons also almost double in size, and against all odds and predictions, Israel not only defended itself, but gained control of many of our holiest sites. And as we all know, most significant of those sites was Yerushalayim, the city of our history, our hopes, our dreams, our tefillot, the city from which we are challenged to put forth the message of tzedek, of kedusha, and Torah. And even though Yom Yerushalayim was Sunday, this morning, today as a community, we will take a moment to think about that nes nigla, that revealed miracle. And although very few of us in this room were even alive when this miracle took place, let's for a few moments this morning reconnect with, recognize, and celebrate that miracle. The first part of our collective celebration this morning has become the prevalent custom in many shuls and schools. We'll begin by watching the actual footage of the paratroopers entering the old city of Yerushalayim and the celebration that ensued upon taking control of Har HaBayit. Let's watch closely.
ברגע זה אנו עוברים את שער האריות. אנחנו בתוך העיר העתיקה. אנחנו בתוך העיר העתיקה. הר הבית בידינו, כאן תלמיד, הר הבית בידינו. פירות צריך קיבלנו, כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד. חדל, כל הכוחות חדל. תחנות תלמיד, כאן מתלמיד כל הכוחות חדל, תבוא. תחנות תלמיד. אתה מנחם ציון ובונה ירושלים.
חטיבת הצנחנים של מות הגור ציינה את כיבוש ירושלים עוד באותו היום במסדר חגיגי בהר הבית. משם החלה הנהירה אל עברו האחר של הקיר, לכותל המערבי.
ברגע זה אני יורד במדרגות אל הכותל. זהו הכותל, ואני נוגע באבני הכותל המערבי.
איחדנו מחדש את ירושלים המבוטרת. חזרנו לקדושים שבמקומותינו. חזרנו על מנת שלא להיפרד מהם לעולם.
To help us appreciate the gift that we have of Yerushalayim, we are privileged this morning to host Rabbi Simcha Krauss. Rabbi Krauss is an outstanding and amazing Talmid Chacham, a beloved rabbi to many kehilot in the United States, a Rabbi to Talmidim in Medinat Yisrael and the United States who follow him around wherever he goes. He's a tremendously courageous leader and posek, and most recently he's been spending his year and much of his time right here in this building leading an international Beit Din to help solve the challenges of the aguna situation when couples need divorce. And very proudly, Rabbi Krauss is also mother-in-law. And on this, where we celebrate and commemorate Yom Yerushalayim, the Pasuk in Tehillim tells us that it is an ir shechubra la yachdav. It is a city, shechubra, from the language of chibur chaver, that brings people together, that unites people together. And it is so fitting for us to hear words of Torah from Rav Krauss, who through his leadership and through recognizing different kinds of Jews and the strengths that they bring to Am Yisrael, has that spirit of Yerushalayim, of bringing Jews together. It is my honor to introduce Rabbi Krauss.
When Rabbi Hartstock asked me to speak here, I hesitated. I don't like to accept lately so many speaking engagements, but if Rabbi Hartstock asks, I have to say yes. But had I known of the nice introduction that he prepared, I would have not hesitated for a wee bit. And I thank you, but generally, when I get such gracious introduction, I say, you don't have to believe the speaker that much, but how can I say that to the principal of the school? So you believe what he said. I want to tell you the thing that happened on the day of Yom Yerushalayim, when I was the rabbi in my first position in Utica. And perhaps that will give an introduction to my frame of reference, what I want to speak about. It was, of course, a Six-Day War, and we didn't know the outcome. And the Six-Day War, before the war, everyone was scared. We were afraid of another Shoah, and so on and so forth. And you know that the Jewish community in America was mobilized. And so in the little city of Utica, all the Jews, the 3,000 of them, almost came to a particular synagogue, and there was an appeal. But the one particular person had an impact on me, and the story is as follows. At the time, I had another incarnation. I wasn't only a rabbi, I taught political science at the branch of Syracuse University. My roommate was a person with a totally English name, and he taught English, I taught political science. To make a long story short, we didn't speak much except the regular pleasantries. How are you? Good. A cold day today, warm day today, etc., etc. And someday, for some reason, I thought that I saw the Jewish Weekly, the equivalent of the Utica Jewish Week, on his desk. I said, you belong to a congregation? He said, no, I'm not Jewish. I'm not. I don't know why they send it to me. Please, Rabbi Krauss, tell Mr. Senior, the executive director, he shouldn't send me these papers anymore. Okay, what do you want from me? I did that. The point is as follows. And everybody is in Utica. And everybody is in that synagogue for the appeal. It was Wednesday. It was the person was freed. And I'm sitting on the podium with the other rabbis of the city. And somebody comes up, Rabbi Krauss, somebody's looking for you. And he didn't wait for me to come. He ran up. In the middle of the program, he ran up to me. Rabbi, it was that professor, my roommate, who said he's not Jewish, with a $10,000 check for UJA. He says, I had to come, I have to participate. That's what Yom Yerushalayim calls out. What I would like to understand is why that has that kind of tug in the heart. Let me perhaps begin with another memory, and that's a memory of my childhood. It's November 29, I believe, 1947. I'm a 10-year-old kid in Europe, in Romania, and it's a pretty nice day. It's not that cold for Romania. And outside, of Jews listening to the one radio that we had, listening to the UN debate on the partition of mandatory Palestine. And when Venezuela comes along and the 33rd state and the 33rd nation and the 2/3 majority passed, all of a sudden the crowd singing Hatikva, etc., etc. And my father got up and said, Shecheyanu v'kimanu v'gyanu lazman hazeh. And then the Hasidic rabbi of the city comes to my father and says, Rav Krauss, I'm not going to speak in Yiddish to you. Rav Krauss, you don't have to be that happy yet. I was taken aback, although I was a 10-year-old kid, I didn't exactly understand it. And it went into my mind, why not? I was angry at him at the time. But you know, between 1947 and 1967, there are 20 years, and a person grows up. We were in America, we came to America in 1948. I went to not necessarily yeshiva like SAR. I went to a more right-wing yeshiva, so to say, as far as Zionism is concerned. They did not celebrate Yom HaAtzmaut, but I made it my point to go to every Yom HaAtzmaut celebration, even though I took off the Seder later, etc., but I had to celebrate Yom HaAtzmaut. And I started thinking, we're talking very happy. Indeed, the Rabbanut said that you make Shecheyanu, what Rav Aaron Lichtenstein Zatzal called a full-throated Shecheyanu. And I thought, for heaven's sake, why Shecheyanu? It's a truncated Israel. No Hebron, no Shechem, no history, no Yerushalayim, no Kotel. And that's what I thought for my time. And perhaps, though that rabbi wasn't politically against Israel, just felt, how could you be happy? So I would like to give an answer in terms of Yom Yerushalayim today. But this is a school that has grand conversations. I'm not going to have a grand conversation now, but perhaps an idea for your next grand conversation. If you think about the Shemoneh Esrei that we say every day, we speak about Yerushalayim. וירושלים עירך ברחמים תשוב ותשכון בתוכה כאשר דיברת ובנה אותה בקרוב ביומנו. Build Yerushalayim in our days, that I understand. And then there's the next sentence. וכיסא דוד עבדך מהרה תכין, and establish the kingdom of David, which is also a very nice bracha. Except, isn't it redundant? Doesn't David have his earlier bracha? David has a bracha already. Es semach David avdecha. Why do we need the second statement about David? V'chisei David nehera tachin. I think that the Mefarshi Tefillah are bothered by that question, but I think the answer is quite simple. What the authors of the Tefillah wanted to tell us is that, of course, Yerushalayim is important. Of course, Yerushalayim has a history, it's the Makam HaMikdash, etc., etc. But without Kisei David, without royalty, without sovereignty, there's something missing in Yerushalayim. The first bracha is for David to become king, fine. There are promises to David, Mashiach, etc., etc. But besides that, what is the symbol of sovereignty? Royalty. Without that royalty, Yerushalayim gives us that royalty. Yerushalayim gives us the ownership of Yerushalayim, the royalty, the sovereignty of Yerushalayim, that we build up Yerushalayim. Because you know why? Yerushalayim, in concept in Zohar, that there are two kinds of Yerushalayim. The Yerushalayim shel Mala, the heavenly Yerushalayim, and the Yerushalayim shel Mata, the earthly Yerushalayim. Sometimes people forget and they go in the quasi-mysticism. We don't need the earthly Yerushalayim. We only need the heavenly Yerushalayim. Comes the halakha and says, no, you need the Yerushalayim that's here and now, the Yerushalayim that's on earth. As a matter of fact, if you remember your Tanakh, when the proclamation of Koresh was made to go up to Yerushalayim, what does Koresh say? Koresh says that Upokad Hashem alai, and God has commanded me, livnot bayit, to build the home, Yerushalayim asher Yehuda, in Jerusalem that's in Yehuda. We don't know that. As a matter of fact, that's one of the first psukim in Ezra. It's also the very last to go up to Yerushalayim that's in Yehuda. What does it mean, Yerushalayim that's in Yehuda? Why do you have to tell me? No, because you should know that Yerushalayim is down. It's here on earth. And when is Yerushalayim successful? Not only with the heavenly Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is successful when it's here on earth. When you build it right here on earth, when you build the capital, and you go to Yerushalayim, and it's so beautiful, and it's so nice, and people, I sometimes, when I'm in Yerushalayim, I go to Yad Vashem. And I'm very depressed when I come out of Yad Vashem. And all of a sudden, when I go out, I see, what do I see? The building cranes. And I see the traffic jams. And in New York, I hate the traffic jams. But in Yerushalayim, I say, Shechianu, you know why? Because it shows that Yerushalayim is alive and thriving and bubbling. And it's fantastic. That's the Yerushalayim Asher B'Yehuda. That's the Yerushalayim Asher B'Yehuda. That is what Yerushalayim has added to us. Yerushalayim was added, and it added, we're 10 feet taller because of Yerushalayim. We're proud because of Yerushalayim. There's a fantastic question that people ask. In Chumash in Dvarim, you will read about the fact of the halakha of Arei Miklat. Somebody who kills accidentally, in order to protect him, he runs to the Arei Miklat, to the cities of refuge. So the Gemara says in Sote, many places, the Gemara says that when one of the ordinances for every city was that when you make signs, street signs, etc., and on the roads, you should also make a sign to say the city of refuge X, 3 miles west, the city of refuge Y, 6 miles east and north, etc. There are signposts for the cities of refuge. Why? To make it easier for the people to run who have to run. We help people. So I want to ask a simple question. Hopefully there were not so many criminals in Jerusalem, in Israel. And nevertheless, we help them. 3 times a year we go on a pilgrimage to Yerushalayim. How come there were no signs anywhere? The Gemara at least doesn't tell us. Yerushalayim, go straight. Make a left turn here, a right turn. Why were there no signs for that? Why did Bezdin worry only about the road signs for the Rotzchim B'Shogeg, for the people who killed? Why wouldn't they worry about the thousands and thousands of pilgrims? You know why? Because the Torah wants as follows. A Jew goes on the road to Yerushalayim, he goes to a pilgrimage, and he doesn't know which way to turn. And then he sees another Jew. Where are you going to Yerushalayim? Which way to Yerushalayim? I don't know. Why are you going to Yerushalayim? Oh, because Yerushalayim is the beautiful city. Oh, because there's so many takanot to make Yerushalayim beautiful. You know what Yerushalayim has? The nicest views and the nicest hotels and the nicest music and the nicest chamber orchestra and the nicest sports team and the nicest yeshivas. That's what the Torah wants us to speak about it. One Jew sees another, and then another is lost. And you say, why do you go to Yerushalayim? Oh, I have family. And why do you go to Yerushalayim? Because it's so nice. Why do you go to Yerushalayim? Because it's so spiritual. Why do you go to Yerushalayim? Because you can touch divinity, so to say. Oh, that's what the Torah wants us to do. And that is the whole idea of Yerushalayim. And that's what Yerushalayim gives us. I want to tell you something an experience that I had. About 20 years ago, it's my experience. 20 years ago, my wife Esther and I were on sabbatical. She will give us a sabbatical, so we were there a year. And of course, you come to Yerushalayim, you love it, you fall in love with it. And we started looking for an apartment. We knew then that we have to end up there, sooner or later. And we're looking for an apartment. So, when you look for an apartment, it could be very tiring. One is in the neighborhood that you want, but it's too big or too small or too fancy or not fancy enough, etc., etc. Finally, we found an apartment. The agent found us an apartment that was exactly in the location, and everything is location, and exactly the kind of size we wanted. Everything was wonderful. We could have moved in right immediately then. except that it was over our budget, over our wildest budget dreams. So, of course, it fell through. As we came out of and the agent left us, I began, I'm going into a depression. And you know what the hell of depression can be? And I felt that I'm going into that hole and I better get out of it because otherwise who knows what will be. And I can't tell you how the mind works, but this is what came into my mind. I read a lot about the Shoah. And somehow, I'm a printaholic when it comes to the Shoah. And somehow, the following thing occurred to me, a page from history. You know that there was the Nuremberg trial for the top Nazis. That's in the Western world. But in Russia, there was also a Nuremberg trial for the echelon, for those people who really worked in the gas chambers and in the ghettos and in the concentration camps. And let's go into immediately where the prosecutor asks the defendant, the Nazi defendant, the following question. It's true till about 1942, you killed Jews by shooting them. And then you changed the method, and you didn't shoot them, you started gassing them. Can you give me a reason why you did that? So the Nazi person says, defendant says in a very businesslike, precise Germanic manner, well, it was economic. What do you mean it was economic, as the prosecutor? So the Nazi says, the defendant says, well, if you make an economic calculation, to kill Jews by gun, by rifle, etc., cost $2.20. But you kill them by gas, cost only 25 cents. So we saved the Reich $2 a Jew, because only 25 cents. So as that, I think to myself, what was a Jew worth during the Shoah? 25 cents a Jew was worth during the Shoah. And if a Jew is worth 25 cents, then what is a Jewish house worth? So what is a Jewish house worth in Vilna, in Kovna in 1941 when they killed every Jew in Kovna? Zilch, nothing. And what was a Jewish home worth in Warsaw in 1943 after the revolt? Zilch, nothing. And the Jewish home in Budapest in the beginning of 1945, nothing, zero. You stupid, I said to myself. That's what I said. Depressed because a house in Jerusalem is worth. That shows that there's something there. And if a house is out of your budget, then Jews obviously go tall. If you can't afford that house, that shows that there's life in Jerusalem. There's want in you. People want it. People want to be here. So instead of following the precious say, a full-throated, Shechiyanu, Vikimanu, Vihigyanu, Lazman Hazeh, to this day when Jerusalem is alive and kicking, and you can't even afford it there. That's brought me out of that depression, because Jerusalem is worth, the sovereignty has given Jerusalem worth. The sovereignty has given it meaning. Yerushalayim can be rebuilt. Yerushalayim can reach the apex. Mi'al Pisgat Har HaTzofim. You have to go to the Pisgat Har HaTzofim to even view Yerushalayim, because Yerushalayim calls you to be high, calls you the best that you can. And that is why, in the Shua, im eshkachech Yerushalayim tishkach yemini, tidbak leshoni lechiki, im lo eskerechi, im lo ale al Yerushalayim arosh shimchasi. There's a fantastic pasuk there. What do we mention? The whole body. We mention the memory, we mention lashon, and we mention hand. What the pasuk is trying to tell us, a Jew has to be involved in Yerushalayim with his whole body. Sometimes he can only remember. It's important. But remember Jerusalem. Sometimes you can do more. Sometimes talk. So talk. Write letters to the editor. Tell the world. Tell your friends. Speak like the two Jews who met on the road. Speak about Yerushalayim. And sometimes, for heaven's sake, you can build it. God gave you hands to build. That is what Yerushalayim is all about. That is why that all these false pilpulim, whether to say Hallel on Yerushalayim or not say Hallel on Yerushalayim, or full Hallel or half Hallel, that's absurd. We all should do what you do today. You're merging the Simcha of Yom Yerushalayim with the Simcha of Rosh Chodesh, so make it even bigger. Let Yerushalayim never be second fiddle and second place. Let Yerushalayim be the choice of your song and all the song. Mi'al Pisgat Haratzofim, Shalom Lach Yerushalayim.
Okay. Hi. How can I follow such an unbelievable speech? But before we head down to the Chagiga, I'm actually going to invite Lily Sherbin, senior Lily Sherbin, to speak about a project that she has been working on tirelessly. She's going to tell you about it now. Lily.
Thank you. As most of you know, in order to graduate, seniors at SAR need to complete 50 hours of an internship of some sort. And for my Senior X, I chose to intern at SAR's development office, which fundraises money that the school needs. So, and what I realized that while at school we all volunteer and support so many organizations, sometimes we forget that SAR needs our help too. Annually, SAR coordinates a fundraising campaign which directly supports the SAR Scholarship Fund and so much more. And I'm so honored to be involved in bringing this to all of you. So come visit the table downstairs in the gym during the Chagiga and donate and get face tattoos and face paint and come show your school spirit and support SAR. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, here's what's going to happen now. Everyone's going to exit the auditorium, head straight to the gym for a Chagiga, and from the Chagiga, you'll be instructed further. Everyone to the